Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our first live interview that is highlighting where we highlight the author, as today we celebrate the National Authors Day. Today I will be highlighting one of our local author right here in St. Martin, and a little biography about him is Darren Wilson. Hailing from the island of St. Martin in the Caribbean, Darren Wilson is a dynamic young man whose goal is to inspire people, both young and old, by empowering them with what is necessary in order to help them transform their thinking and ultimately their lives. Darren considers his most precious achievement to be his marriage to his wife, Charmaine Wilson, and being a father to his son, Darren Wilson Jr., on which he places the highest priority for his life after his relationship with God. Darren's aim is to help encourage and motivate others locally and globally to never stop learning and instill a sense of pride and worth in other young men and women to make a positive contribution to their communities and help build a better world for the future generation. Darren Wilson is an author of Design for Purpose, which I have his book right here. It's one of the best books that you can read. I believe Darren should be in anytime now. All right. Help me welcome Darren Wilson Sr., who is a local author here in St. Martin. Hello, Darren.
Hi, Ravina. How are you doing?
I am doing great, thank you. And how are you doing?
Awesome.
Perfect. We are happy to have you here this evening,
Are you hearing
Darren.
me well? Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear you,
properly?
yes, I can hear you. Well,
Hello?
you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect. I think we're good now.
Awesome. Thank you. We're all good. Great. Then thank you for accepting our invitation, Darren. I've
Not a
just read
problem.
your biography, so I'm aware that the viewers know who you are now. I
Right,
will
right, right.
allow you some time. There's a little bit of noise in the background from you. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I am trying to figure that out, but I'm not sure what it is. I think it's cleared up now, but yeah, but no worries. We're all good now. I think it's cleared up
Okay,
now.
awesome. Well, now I will allow you to take some time to let us know the books that you have written and give us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is. I guess you read the bio already, but that's not a problem. I can introduce myself again. My name is Darren Wilson. I am a born and bred Saint Martiner. From here, uh, born in 1987. So I guess you can guess how old I am right now. Been married for 4 years to the lovely Charmaine Wilson, who's watching right now, and we have
Hi,
one child together,
Charmaine.
my only child on the planet. His name is Darren Wilson Jr. I am a speaker and an author and also an entrepreneur by trade. I have a company, a growing company called Quick to You Delivery, which is the number one time-saving delivery slash courier service on the island of St. Martin. We're a full-service delivery slash courier company. We do everything from food deliveries to bank runs, bill payments, package pickups, you name it, we do it. And our
Awesome.
motto is we save you time. So that is what I do. And I also mentioned, again, I'm an author. I have 3 books out to date and a couple ebooks and a couple of books that I'm working on still. And I'm also a speaker. I've spoken at several events in several countries as well. So Caribbean countries, namely St. Kitts, Angola, and other places, Antigua. So I've done a bit of that as well. So that's in a nutshell who I am. Some of my books that I've written, you can find them all on Amazon, and you can find them all on my website, darrenwilsonglobal.com. The books are entitled Got Fruit, Designed for Purpose, and The Kingdom Focused Church. Those are the 3 books that I have at the moment. More to be written soon.
Awesome. Darren, tell me a little bit about God fruits.
Got Fruit. All right, Got Fruit. I have it right here, so I can just show the cover. Got Fruits. If you're looking for it, this is what it looks like right here. Godfruit is basically a book that I wrote in 2015 or published in 2015, and it's based on the idea and the notion that persons are meant to be productive, persons are meant to be fruitful, and being from the Caribbean, we have an abundance of fruit trees. And every time you look at a fruit tree and you see fruit on it, it indicates that the tree is productive, it is producing, it is fruitful, it is doing what it was created to do, which is bear fruit. And the fruit is meant to be enjoyed by persons who like that particular fruit. So if
Right.
we are to compare ourselves to to trees, we also as human beings are meant to be fruitful, not only for ourselves but for our people that are immediately impacted by us, like our families, our children, our jobs, our communities, our extended spheres of influence. Those are the people that are to be impacted by our fruit. And that is basically the gist behind God Fruit, just encouraging and motivating people to become productive members of society, for life, for family, for your church, for your business, for your organization, your company, your government, your country, the world. Just become
And
fruitful.
God fruit was released. When was God fruit released?
God Fruit was released in 2015, July, I
2000.
believe, of 2015.
Awesome. And designed for purpose. I know that one is one of my favorite. So
Uh-huh.
give us a little bit about design for purpose.
Design for Purpose tackles a very important concept in human development, I believe, in my humble opinion, which is that of purpose. I am of the firm conviction that one cannot truly live until they know why they are alive. Um, I often say you have to know who you are before you can affect why you are. The why you are is what purpose is. Purpose is that thing that drives you, that thing that motivates you, that thing that causes you to get up and go through life with meaning and with vigor. Persons that don't have purpose, you often see them doing anything that comes to mind, anything that goes. I kind of liken it to the oceans, the ocean. Let me say it like this: you have boats, you have ships, you have captains. They steer their boats to a particular destination, a particular place in the entire scheme of geography. And when they do that, the destination they're going is a purpose. They are going to a particular destination. Um, but if a captain has no idea where they want to go and the boat is just out there, the current just takes them wherever they want to go or wherever it wants to go, it being the current. And it's the same thing with the oceans of life: current trends, current fashions, current styles, everything that is current. If you don't have a purpose or a vision for your life that guides you in a particular direction, the currents of life will take you and toss you to and fro and carry you wherever it is you want to, wherever it wants to go. And that's why we have so many
Yeah.
people that abuse their life, because abuse is basically abnormal use. Because you don't know the purpose of a thing. Dr. Miles Monroe says that all the time. Because you don't know the purpose of a thing, you will abuse it, abnormally use it. So that's why purpose is so important.
That's right. You know, Mr. Wilson, it's amazing that as soon as I turned the book open and I saw the quote, the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. That
Exactly.
is deep. And when you
Yeah.
look at that, you have to find your purpose. Kudos to you. Tell me something about the Kingdom Focused Church. A little bit about the Kingdom Focused Church.
The Kingdom Focused Church is a book that I've read because I'm also a born again believer. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in His church. So let's just put that out there. And I wrote that book because I began to observe. I gotta be careful how I say this. I began to observe some concerning and alarming um, situations happening in the church that, again, coming back to purpose, is not, again, in my humble opinion, in line with what the church is actually supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Church has become more of a social club rather than a place of transformation.
Right.
And that is the reason behind writing the Kingdom Focused Church book, because the kingdom of God is what is important. And the
Mm-hmm.
church is the agency or the vehicle that ushers in the kingdom of God into the earth. And if the church is not kingdom focused, then nothing will get done on behalf of the kingdom of God. And that is a big reason, or a large enough reason why we don't see the the feats that were done in the Bible, especially after the church was established. We don't see those feats happening much today for that same reason. The church has lost its kingdom focus. So the Kingdom Focused Church book was written to redirect and realign and pivot back to the kingdom, those who are part of the church. Long live the church. I am a firm believer in the church. The church will never
That's
die. It
right,
should never
man.
die.
That's right. So that's deep. That's deep. Powerful stuff. Now, Darren, now that we've know what you've written and the books, let's go straight into some questions.
Go right ahead.
So, Darren, tell me, what are some of the most unethical practice in the publishing industry since you've started writing?
The most unethical practice. Okay, because I'm fairly new into the industry. And again, there's traditional publishing and self-publishing. I'm in the self-publishing industry, and seeing that I've been in it for a little over 3 years. Some of I can't really say what some of the most unethical practices are because I've not been in it long enough. But if I were to take a guess, I would say an unethical practice is persons writing above their level of comprehension and experience. And I say, and that's unethical because you, well, I believe when a person writes, they are to write from a place of conviction, and from a place that they have been through something or learned something that is worth sharing. And a lot of times we see, well, many times, I've seen in some reading, some blogs and some books from persons, and you can see that they just wrote it for writing's sake, but it's not coming from a place of conviction. Um,
Right.
and that is what I think is to me unethical. Not writing from a
Mhm.
place of conviction. You can't be an author or a speaker or anything of that matter if you're not doing it from conviction. That is why all of my books, every last one, Got Fruit, Designed for Purpose, and the Kingdom Focused Church, was all written from a place of conviction, because I believe in these things, and I'm going to write based on that.
That's right. So, what are the common traps for aspiring writers?
The common what again?
The common traps
Yeah.
for aspiring writers.
Oh, common traps. Okay, some of the traps that I have encountered as a writer was trying to write perfectly.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is this. You want to have everything done so perfectly that you spend months and sometimes even years on a particular book or project or piece or whatever chapter or whatever, that you always that you if you are the writer, you will never think that it's right. It'll never be right. It'll never be perfect, and that's a trap, because that is a trap that puts you in a constant state of, maybe it's not good enough, maybe it's not good enough, maybe it's not good enough, it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet. That is a trap, because at that rate, whatever it is you're writing will never come out, and by the time you're
Right.
ready to bring it out, it may be obsolete.
Yeah.
The world may have moved on. Because as an author, it's important that you always have your finger on the pulse of humanity, to know what is going on, so that you can always write in the direction that humanity is going. It's the same thing, and for writers that are part of the kingdom, I would say we have a bit of an advantage, because we if we are connected with the Spirit of God, we can tell where the world is moving, and we're able to write in that direction as well. That is the reason for God Fruit. That is how Design for Purpose came out, and that is how Kingdom Focus Church came out. Because you write in the direction that the world is going, and that is a trap, that writers need to be aware of. If you write in, don't look for the perfect piece. Write the right
That's right.
piece.
That's right. That's one of the traps. Just don't think that everything is going to be perfectly done.
Right.
All right. Darren, let me take some time out to acknowledge our founder, Daniel Chance, who is also watching. So you can say hello.
Hi, Miss Chance. How are you doing? Miss
All
Chance is
right.
one of our
And to
clients.
acknowledge, yes, and to acknowledge all of our viewers. Thank you for sharing the post. Thank you for being here. And we're gonna continue our interview with the author. Does what kind? I like this one. What is your writing kryptonite? You know the Spider-Man kryptonite?
Because I'm a comic book enthusiast, I have to correct you. It's not Spider-Man. It's Superman that has kryptonite.
And then you got to it too. You're right.
Superman has kryptonite. Okay, what is my writer's kryptonite? My writer's weakness? Huh,
Mm,
man, it's so many. And the reason why I say so many, because it's important to highlight your weaknesses, because uh, the mere fact that you overcame them it shows that there's hope for persons who are struggling with the same thing. One of my writer's weaknesses is, believe it or not, laziness. Laziness, yeah. And laziness not in the sense that I don't have things to write. I have plenty to write. As an author, it's especially one who has what I call the scribal anointing. There's always thoughts in your head. There's always thoughts in my head. My problem is writing them down. Because I think if I commit everything to memory, I'll remember it when the time is right. No, no, and that's a form of laziness. And really and
yeah.
truly, that is actually another trap as well. Going back to your previous question,
Uh-huh.
because that laziness will always trap you into thinking, well, I got time, I could do it later. And then when time
Mm-hmm.
comes to sit down and remember what it is, because sometimes it would be a great thought. I'm like, wow, this is an awesome thought. But because I don't write it down, it disappears just like that. So that's a
Yeah.
kryptonite of mine. And how I'm working on that is, as soon as I get the thought, it doesn't matter where I am. And you see these devices that I'm on right now, which is my smartphone. I love it because I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
walk with pen and paper anymore. I can just write the thought down immediately, wherever I am. And now the devices are coming out with this voice record feature. Even if I'm driving, I can record the thought. And yeah,
Yeah.
so that is what I do to overcome that trap of laziness. Wherever I
Yeah.
am, sometimes when we out, my wife thinks I'm busy on Facebook or texting. It's really thoughts I'm writing down. So, uh,
Charmaine, it starts. He's writing down. It starts. Did you hear
but
that?
yeah,
Good. Alrighty. Have you ever gotten a reader's block?
reader's block or writer's block?
Reader's block. We're gonna come to
Okay.
writer's block after,
Okay.
but after you started writing, I'm sure that you had to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have reader's block as well.
Reader's block. Um, I wouldn't say that I've had reader's block, because I'm always reading. And whether it's my stuff or other people's stuff, I've never I don't think I have ever experienced reader's block. Because that is sometimes how some of my thoughts, how you say prime the pump. That is how that's how I get some of my thoughts, by reading. So reader's block, I don't think I've ever experienced that. I don't know if I answered that question correctly.
Well, you probably did in your own opinion, because sometimes, you know, we start a book and we think that it's gonna be good, and for some reason you're like, man, it's not going the way I wanted it to go. And then you keep thinking about all different things, and then you start having reader's block, like, I just can't move forward. How do I move forward? You know?
Uh,
But
yeah. Okay. Well then,
that's one of my personal reader's block.
yeah, I don't think I've ever had reader's block, because and anytime I pick up a book to read, it's something that it interests me at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten, oh, actually, I did ask you that one. Do you try to be more original or to deliver what the readers want? Do you try to
That's a
write
very
things
good
based
question.
on your perspective or what the readers want?
That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. To be honest with you, it's a little bit of both. You have to be original in your writing, but you also have to, give the people what they want. And I like to say like this: you have to give people what they want in the way that they want it,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to. Original information is what attracts people. You can't expect to have recycled information and have people be, um, uh, in, enjoy recycled
Mm-hmm.
information that they saw elsewhere already. So I strive for a measure of originality, in my writing, but I also try to give people what they want.
Right.
And it's also important to know too, for this question,
Mm-hmm.
what your niche audience is. Who are you writing to? You see, because
Mm-hmm.
if you know who you're writing to, then it's easier to, one, write original information for that audience, and two, be able, to give them what they want, because you know what they're expecting. You see, so
Right.
that's why that for that
Right.
answer, it's a little bit of both. But most
And I'm
importantly, you need to know who you're writing to, and
right.
if that's one of the biggest takeaways I want aspiring authors and seasoned authors who are on here, who will watch the replay, to take away. Know who you're writing to.
Right. What do you think someone could be a writer if they don't feel emotions strongly?
Ooh, you come with a lot of good questions, Ravina.
I gotta give it
um,
to you, Mr. Wilson.
all right. Can you repeat the question? Can
Do
someone
you
be a
think
writer
someone
if
could be a writer? Do you think someone could be a writer if they don't feel emotions strongly?
I think emotions, play a huge role in being an artist, um, but they need to be controlled. That's one. And two,
Mm-hmm.
I would not say emotions, so much as I would say convictions, which is a word I used previously. To be a writer, you have to have a strong convictions, um, because at the end of the day, when people read your work, they don't see you. They don't know. The closest they might get to you is, the picture on the back of the book. But your words,
Right.
if you're convicted about something, that conviction can be conveyed through your words. So
Right.
I would venture out to say that, for an author or writer, or whoever you are, speaker or whatever, your convictions need to be strong. You have to have a
Mm-hmm.
strong conviction about whatever it is you're writing, because at the end of the day, conviction is what grabs people's attention. If they're reading something and they see that it's just written because, oh well, I can write something, then it
Yeah.
loses its effect. But if they can read something and it grabs them with conviction, I'll give you an example from me. Um, the one of the books that actually started me on this journey of being an author, and
Mhm.
this whole journey towards purpose and vision and all of that, was a book, The Power and Purpose, The Purpose and Power of Vision by Dr. Miles Monroe. I read that book in one sitting, and after I read that book, that I felt the conviction, the same thing I'm telling you about, which is why I write with
Mhm.
conviction now. The conviction from that
Yes.
book is what put me on this path right now, to be like, man, I need to have a vision for my life. Man, there's things that I can do. Man, I can write books,
Yes.
and all
Yes.
these thoughts started to happen, and some started to happen on the inside where, listen, I can really do all these things. Well, yeah,
Yes.
and that is why now
So
I try to write with the same conviction. Say
do
again?
you think Mr. Do you think Arthur Miles Monroe probably came from what his emotions were strongly about, so he also used his emotions to convict or to write in conviction? Do you think it could go hand in
Yeah,
hand?
that's why I really do think so, and that's why I said in the beginning, emotions, yes,
Mhm.
but controlled emotions, because
Mhm.
emotions run wild can wreak havoc. Because I'm sure you've
Mhm.
seen people write emotional rants on Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, emotional
Yeah, like
blogs,
that.
emotional
Like that.
posts. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Emotions are important, yes, but they need to be controlled, and controlled emotions come out as convictions. Yeah,
Mhm.
controlled
What are
emotions.
nice? What are authors? What other authors are you friends with, and how do they help you to become a better writer?
um, well, authors that I'm friends with, well, like, okay, let me say, um, I know a few authors on the island, but
Mhm.
one that I can say I'm truly friends with is Ralph Kantav. Um,
Hello,
I don't know if he's
Ralph.
watching. I didn't see him pop in, but I'm friends with him, and we became friends. Ironically, well, not ironically, but coincidentally, when I was a well, a teacher. Let me say it like that at USM. I taught English, and he
Uh-huh.
was a student in my class, and we met, and our friendship just grew from there. And I'm friends with him as an author, and how he inspires me, to be honest, is the fact that he's so young in the game, um, but he has that drive to make his mark um, in the world,
Mhm.
and that is a motivating factor for me, because you know if he's pushing, I should be pushing too, and not in competition. But if he's pushing to be better, then yeah, I'm pushing to be better as well. With his books, what is it? Words of Change and 21 and Savage. Y'all should get that, especially Words of Change. Yeah, yeah, I
All
have that
right.
book.
Make sure you get 21 established.
Yeah, Words of Change and 21 and Savage. Those are the books by Ralph Kantav. You should get those. He's a young author, up and coming, currently in school, college in Tallahassee, finishing up his degree. So yeah, but he's an author that I'm friends with. I'm actually very proud to say that we are friends. And yeah,
Awesome.
he's an inspiration to me as well.
Awesome. Shout out to Ralph Kantab. That's right.
Kantav, yeah.
Do you want each book to stand on its own, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
That's a good question. So if you're asking me if I'm trying to make a volume series, that's what you're saying,
Yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
sense.
So are you
Okay.
going to like build individual volume?
How my writing style is, it is not
Mhm.
set up that way. But the books that I have right now, they can function independently as well as interdependently. And what I mean by that is this: um, the book Got Fruit, the book Designed for
Mhm.
Purpose, and the book The Kingdom Focused Church are all independent bodies of work, but they can all be, joined together, linked together, because you have to know your purpose. Like I said, you have to know who you are before you can affect why you are. Who you are is the purpose. Why you are is got fruit. The developing the fruit, what you're doing, and that fruit now needs to be, if you're a believer, that fruit needs to be harvested somewhere, which is the church, the Kingdom Focused Church. So all of them can function independently, but you can all read them together in consecutive order. Designed for Purpose, God Fruit, Kingdom Focused Church. So the ones that I have currently function that way, and the ones that are coming out, where we just have to see how they will swing, right?
Exactly. I got you, and I'm gonna have to look to see if there is a connection or if it's independent. I'm gonna watch you
Right.
on that one. If you could tell your younger writing self anything, what would it be?
Start earlier. Start writing. Don't be afraid.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
that
There
is
we
what I
go.
would tell. That is what I would tell my younger self. Listen, don't, because when I was younger, I used to think that writing a book was such a large feat. And someone who writes a book, wow, they must be extremely intelligent and smart to be able to write all these words in a 200-page book. And I'm like, wow, that's something I can never achieve. So I used to write here and there small little articles, but
Yeah.
never thought about writing a book until I read that book, The Power and Purpose of Vision by Dr. Miles Monroe. And
Nice.
after that, I was like, you know what? Well, shoot. And then I saw how many books he wrote,
Then you can
and
write
what
one
was the
too.
icing on the yeah, and what was the icing on the cake is that he was from the Caribbean just like me.
See?
So I was like,
You
well,
see?
you know what? Yeah. Well, then, if you could go global as an author from Caribbean island, I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'm sure that there are other young writers just like yourself, probably in a shell somewhere, telling themselves
Hmm.
like, hey, I probably can't write yet because I'm not that advanced yet, or all of those kind of questions that's popping up in their heads.
With all the resources available today, ghostwriters, transcribers, if as
Copywriters.
long as you can speak, copywriters, as long as you can speak, you can be an author. Because what you can do is you can get a voice recorder, you take your phone,
Mhm.
write, record whatever it is you want to say, and you can send it to somebody to transcribe. People do that. So there's no excuse for not being an author today, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
I just gave that idea to whoever wanted to be an author. Whoever's listening, you can do
Mhm.
that.
Nice. How did the publishing of your first book change the process of your writing?
How did the publishing of my first book change the process of my writing? It
Yes.
changed the process of my writing because it showed me that I can write. So it
Mhm.
made me want to write more and write often and write as much as I could. And that, coming back to the weakness I mentioned earlier of the laziness, that is what
Mhm.
forced me out of the laziness, writing my own book. Because again, I before he died, I used to consume Dr. Miles Monroe, and one of the things that he said was, the enemy to your next success is your last success. So if I were to focus on Got Fruit, then the next two books wouldn't have been out. I would have been like, just relishing in the fact that, well, you know what, I'm an author. I got my first book out, Got Fruit. Yeah. But then if you
Yes.
stay on that, then these two wouldn't be out. And if I stayed on these two,
Exactly.
the next two that I'm working on won't be coming out. So the fact that I wrote the first book is what gave me the fuel to say, okay, you know what? You wrote the first one, on to the next one. You wrote the second one, on to the third one. You wrote the third one, on to the next one. So that's how we changed the process
Right.
of my writing. It put a demand on my ability.
And also your writing skills level changed as you proceed.
Yeah, because again, and this is important. Thank you for that. This is important. All aspiring
Mhm.
writers, this is important. When you become an author, it is it behooves you to perfect your craft, to perfect your skill. All
Mhm.
right. Excuse me. What I mean by that is, just because you wrote a book doesn't mean that you're not going to research how to write, perfect your writing, Um, take some grammar courses, take some punctuation courses. Look at videos online on what it takes to put a book together, publish a book, write better, you know, edit, read up about what it means to be an editorial, so you can go through and proofread your own stuff. It behooves you to do all of that, you know.
That's right. Yes, awesome. Uh, what authors did you dislike at first, but you now grew into? I know this is a tough question
Um,
that you might not want to do. Sometimes,
I
you
don't,
always read that one book and you're like, man, how she write it like
um,
that?
I don't think I have any authors that I don't dislike, because every author that I've written, I have either felt a pull towards the book, or a a pull towards the author. So I don't think I've ever bought a book that I really dislike the author or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay,
No, I
so
don't think I
not
have.
not as a personal perspective. Okay, Mr.
Right.
Wilson, I guess we're
Can
gonna
you
go
give
a
me?
little bit into your personal business here. But as a young writer, if you're gonna start writing, that you wanna know, you want to know what are the benefits? How do I feel being an author?
Right,
How
right, right.
What was the best money you've ever spent as a writer?
That's a very good question. And I will answer that as soon as I go get my charger, because I just saw that my battery is running down. So give me a
Okay,
few minutes, okay?
no problem. So here to our viewers, we are here. I am Ravina Claudius, and I am a member of the Young United Women Book Club. Our mission is to bring women together through the share of knowledge. We aim to welcome young and old women, well, I wouldn't say old, but mature women to our sphere of literature to enhance their vocabulary and speech. And I am sure that as soon as you join the book club with the variety of books that we read, we definitely increase the knowledge and the vocab, plus the writing skills. All of that is being learned being a part of the book club. Now, one of my best part about being in this book club is I've got to network with so many young women, so many empowering women, women that read and that are looking for every possibility to develop themselves. And that alone is an awesome act. And if you can be a part of our book club and share our sentiments, then man, you are at the best place. And there's no other person better than the founder who has been motivating us every step of the way. And her helping partner, Melba Westcott. They've both been doing an awesomely mother role for the Young United Women member. And God, they pull us. They make sure we're up to par, huh, Darren? Moving on. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or your spirit animal? A little bit about you now.
Okay, but let's go back to the question posed earlier about
Oh yes, you're
the
right.
best money, something like that.
What was the best money you've ever spent as an author? Yes, as a writer, as a matter of fact. Not author, writer.
The best money I've ever spent. The best money I've ever spent. Really want to know?
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you the best money I ever spent. The money I spent publishing my first book. That was the best money I ever
Oh
spent.
dear.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because I don't see that as a cost. I saw that
Mm.
as an investment into the future. And that is
Awesome.
why I consider the best money that I ever spent. Because if I hadn't spent that, it wouldn't have given me the drive necessary to publish the rest of my books and all the others that are coming out. So that to me is the best money that. Hello. Are you
Awesome.
there?
That's awesome as
I
well.
guess the
Yes, you
the
just
live was
I just
freezing.
lost you for a while, but you're back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's your best
Okay.
money spent. On average, what would you say is the average cost of writing a book? Like, what are the processes in writing a book? Just briefly, in
The
summary,
process is
or what is the process?
the process in writing a book.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Well, step number one, write the book. That's the most important step. But after you write the book, then you have to get into, well, depending on what kind of avenue you're looking at. But I would suggest that those who are getting into publishing go through self-publishing, because it's easier and it's a bit more cost efficient. You can set up payment plans and whatnot of the sort. And then from there, and it takes you step by step through the process. You get a publishing coordinator, someone who takes you through the design, the type editing, the editorial, not editorial, but the editing of the book itself, final design. Those are usually the processes that come along with it. And then after the book is complete, then you have the marketing step, the marketing phase, and that's also a choice. You can choose to go with their marketing plan, or you can go it and try and market the book yourself. So those are the stages, in a nutshell.
Okay, awesome. Just a little bit about you, Mr. Wilson, and we will wrap it up. Have you ever Googled yourself?
Have I ever Googled myself? Yes, I did,
Yes, like your
and
you have.
yeah, I have Googled myself. The only issue with that is when I Google myself, apparently there's another Darren Wilson out there, and this just happens to be the guy who was a cop who killed, I think it was Mike Brown, in
Oh,
Ferguson. Yeah, his name
oh
is
wow.
Darren Wilson as well. So that was pretty interesting.
Scary at first.
Yeah, that was pretty
I was like,
interesting.
man,
So
wow.
so now
What
when I
was the
Google
first book
myself,
that made you cry? Oh no, tell me the story. Finish off.
oh no, yeah, that's what I'm just saying. So now when I Google myself, I always type Darren
Mhm.
Wilson Global, which is my website, and then I pop up, and so we're good there.
Okay, guess
Yeah.
what I did? I think I googled Darren Wilson St. Martin. I found you.
Oh well, yeah, that's good. That's even better. Darren Wilson St. Martin, right?
Yeah, so we found the one right here. What is the first book that made you cry?
um,
Fun facts.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Yes,
Woo!
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Back him up here, Daniel. Back him up. The
That
senior
book,
book
yeah,
club, the
I
Enlightened
we
Women book club, as a matter of fact, they have read that book and they have
yeah.
done the best team. Man, that was good.
I
So
had
you've
to
actually
read
cried
that
from that
book.
book?
Um, yeah, yeah. I shed. The eyes glistened a little bit. It started to water a little bit. But actual tear that dropped, I don't think so. Because I was in high school and we had to read it for fifth form English class. Shout out to Miss Johns and all the classmates of 5A1 who may be watching or may be watching the replay. Samartan Academy class of 2004. Whoop, whoop. But we had to read that book for our lit class, our literature class,
Uh-huh.
and we also had to act out the courtroom scene um, in our class as well. And I can't remember the name of the guy who was on trial. I know the lawyer's name was Atticus Finch, but I can't remember the name of the guy who was on trial. But I was the guy who was on trial. And while acting out the scene, I got real into character, and it touched a spot, and
Yeah.
the eyes started to water, but I couldn't let that fall because this is fifth form high school, friends, girls. Yeah, no, you don't do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it touched the scene.
Oh
That
man.
was one of the books that really touched a spot. when I read
Listen,
Hummingbird.
when you have the time, Darren,
Mhm.
definitely take a look at the pictures from the team to Kill a Mockingbird. Uh, yeah, to Kill a Mockingbird. That's right, right? On the United
Yeah, that's the
Women's
name of
Book
the book.
Club. They have the entire team. The pictures are awesome, and I couldn't imagine how that book discussion went. But man, the
Wow.
pictures are good. How many hours a day do you write?
How many hours a day? Dedicated hours? I don't have any dedicated hours. But how many hours a day do I write? As soon as I get a thought. So sometimes I could be,
Yeah.
um, especially running my company that requires me to be in lines a lot and on the road a lot and doing errands for people a lot. I have a lot of time, just standing in line. So whenever I get a thought,
Mm-hmm.
in institutions that allow me to use my phone, of course, I would pull my phone
Yeah.
out and just, start writing thoughts and stuff like that down. So I would say I spend, you know, close to 8 hours a day writing, but not consecutively. You see, and that's another
Mm-hmm.
trap
Okay.
that people like to fall into. You say you sit down and you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to writing. Well, if you can do that, kudos to you, fine. But that sometimes just by seeing a number plate, or you pass it and you see a billboard and you see something that
Mm-hmm.
just strikes your attention. Like the other day, I was looking at a video on Facebook, and a thought just hit, and it turned into another thought, which turned into another thought, which turned into a paragraph that I have now on my phone. So that is how the writing process is for me. So I wouldn't say I spend
Awesome.
consecutive hours writing. I just write whenever I get the unction to.
Yeah, awesome. So from the thought you just write, or like you said, you use your phone. What is your favorite childhood book, if you can remember
Favorite,
it?
yeah, and I try. Favorite childhood book. What was my favorite book growing up? I used to read a lot of the Bobbsey Twins and the Hardy Boys. Going to the library.
Mhm.
Bobbsey Twins and Hardy Boys mysteries. Yeah, I used to love those. So I won't say it's a book per se, but a series. I always used to get those books. Yeah. So those are my
Yeah,
favorite
you
books
pick
growing
up
up.
the Hardy Boys book.
Yeah.
Nice. How long on average does it take to write a book?
How long does it take to write a book? Take you
On
as long
average,
as
yeah.
as as long as you want. You could write a book in 30 days if you want. You could write a book in 2 months if you want. It really and truly, it all depends on you
Mm-hmm.
and how soon you
Mm-hmm.
want to do it. Um, I have a breakdown, but it's too long to think. So if you would like, I kind of broke it down in really simple terms on what it would take for you to write a book in a short time as possible. I can forward that to you probably via WhatsApp, and then you disperse it. I just have to find it because it's somewhere on my hard drive. I can give that information on anyone who wants to start writing a
Great.
book. All it takes is conviction, diligence,
Uh-huh.
discipline.
Uh-huh.
That's all it takes.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you permit us, maybe we can do it in our newsletter release for the next edition. Something to keep our audience
Yeah,
in check and give them the knowledge on what it takes to be a writer or to write a book, as a matter of fact.
definitely, definitely. I just have to find it for you, and once I find it,
Nice.
I'll send it out.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now to my second to last question, Darren. Do you believe in writer's
Mhm.
block?
Writer's block, definitely. Um, I get writer's block quite
Yes, you do
often,
have that.
to be honest. That's why yeah, that's why I say, as soon as when you get a thought, just start writing, because that thought leads to other thoughts that leads to other thoughts. But if you wait too long, when you try to remember the thought, it may not come exactly how you got it, and after
Mm-hmm.
that, writer's block can ensue. So, just write. Just and for an author, a writer, that's all you need to do. Just write. Just write. And if you're like me, whenever I start to write, that is when the thoughts start coming to play, and it just start coming from all different angles, experiences, things you remembered. In my book Got Fruit, it's a perfect example of it. In my book Got Fruit, there's a story I wrote about when I was younger. We were outside in the yard. My grandmother was tending to some piece of bush that she had planted, and I remember that story while I was writing that book, but that happened over 20 years ago, and it fit perfectly into into the story. So I say that to say, as soon as you start writing, you begin remembering things from your childhood, examples of all sorts of stories and situations. I mean, I have examples in my book, Design for Purpose, as well. So that's right to flow, and before you know it, you have an entire page, an entire paragraph, an entire chapter of a book.
I want to give big shout out to Shalma, Charmaine. Hi, Charmaine. Fabian Chan,
Charmaine, that's my
Charity,
wife.
Charmaine. Hi, wifey. Shanice Thomas. Hello, everybody. Andres, Jamal. Hello, Jamal. We have, I would believe that's Miss Abraham. We have on viewing our founder, Daniel Chance. We have shouting out Ralph. Hey, Ralph. Hope you're doing all right. Darren, shout Ralph, no? Shout Ralph. Shout Ralph. Shanice. We have,
Oh, I thought you would. Oh, I thought you were
there we
doing it. I'm
go.
sorry.
We're
Shout out to Ralph Cantab. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for your inspiration. Again, shout out to the wife, Charmaine Wilson, my only wife, the mother of my only child on the planet. That's right. Yep. And everybody else who I'm not seeing right now, but
Hello,
who
Charlie.
joined, who logged on. Miss Chance, I know you're there. I saw Fabine. I saw Shernice, Etlyn, Charity. I saw Charity pop in for a little bit. I don't know if she's still there. Um, everyone who is there and who came on, who shared, who commented. Thank you, appreciate it. This well, okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to get too carried away, but yeah, thank you all for liking and sharing and commenting.
Before you leave, well, Darren, I am gonna ask you my last question. What is your challenge being a writer and your advice for the viewers and future writers?
What is my challenge being a writer, and what is my advice for future writers? Okay.
That's right.
My challenge as a writer is a bit of transparency and honesty. My challenge as a writer is being able to um, promote your products. And what I say when I say that, I mean um, the books that I have, I believe are good. I mean, I honestly believe so. And the few people that have actually read it and come to me and said that, Darren, I really do enjoy your books. They're life changing, life altering. They are they bring the best out of you. My challenge is getting more people to see that, getting more people to buy into Darren Wilson, the author. And that's a challenge because when you just starting out and you don't have um, major backing, major marketing behind you, like you would see some of these larger companies do, or you don't have a major platform to push from, it becomes challenging. But nonetheless, you still gotta keep pushing forward, and that would be my advice to young writers. Um, go forward. Just keep pushing, keep writing. Because remember, words are powerful. Words, whether spoken or written, carry creative power. And you can use that power to inspire, empower, and transform, or you can use that power to destroy, break down, and completely obliterate. And you want to make sure that when you're writing from a place that can inspire people, empower them, and transform them for the better. Because that is what words about great change. And if used incorrectly, can bring great destruction. So that is what my advice would be to
Right.
young writers. Know how you're going to use your words, and don't be discouraged. Keep writing, because at a certain point, somebody will see your work, and will be inspired by it, and will be that platform that you need to reach a larger audience and a larger mass. Um,
Right.
I see a question from Fabine Chance.
Yes. Great
Um,
question, Fabi.
she said, as a writer, she doesn't think, I don't think I heard that. How do you get over or break through writer's block? Do you have a place to go? How does your inspiration flow? That's a very good question. Um, for me, sometimes when I, like I said, when I get writer's block, it usually breaks for me by just observing, and just having thoughts just run, observing my surroundings, like looking for something to write about, and or um, looking at problems that people have, looking at problems that people are experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you would see an issue in, like, an establishment, business, for example, and you would look at it and you would analyze it and you would say, well, you know something, how could this be better? And then you would think about all of the ways that it could be better, and then that can trigger, or eliminate the writer's block to begin writing a solution to a problem. So those are some of the tricks that I use to overcome writer's block. I don't have a particular place to go to. I know some people do that. I really don't. Some people go to the beach. Some people like the outdoors, nature. Um, for me, it's just I, because I'm a thinker, and I guess that's why it works that way for me. My mind is always going at 100 miles an hour. So I'm always thinking about problems, how to solve them, how to things about leadership, things about purpose, things about the church, things about spirituality, Christianity. Because these are all things that I would think about and look at, and try to be an how you say, one step ahead of the game, or two steps ahead of the game, say it like that. So I hope I answered your question, Fabine. I don't really have a place to go to. I just look for problems, look for inspiration elsewhere, and then it breaks the writer's back, because some thoughts begin to flow.
Awesome. And your word of advice.
Basically, so she said, so basically it's easier when you relate to the subject. It can be. It can be easier when you can relate to the subject. And that's why I said earlier, you have to know who you're writing to and who you're writing for. Because it helps you build content that is relevant. Yeah, let me say it like that. It's easier when you relate to the subject. For example, I saw you mention something about poetry. I'm not a poet, so I wouldn't even dare try to attempt writing poetry. So it helps if you can relate to the area that you're writing for. If you're writing for poets, then yeah, definitely. You can seek inspiration through those means. But for me, I'm not a poet. I write. I'm not even a novelist. I write books that geared towards, and that's another thing. All the thoughts are flowing now. You see how it works? That's another thing. As a writer, you have to know what's your writing style as well. My writing style is one of inspiration, empowerment, and transformation. That is the goal that I want all of my books and everything that I write to have. When you finish
That's
reading
awesome.
anything from Darren Wilson, are you going to leave inspired? Are you going to leave empowered? And are you going to leave with the tools necessary to transform your life going forward? So that is my purpose for writing, and every author has to figure that out. Because if you don't, that is how you write from conviction. If you don't figure out what you're writing for, or why you're writing, then you will lack the necessary conviction to be able to attract anybody. Hope that answers your
Awesome.
question,
That's an
Fabi.
aha moment right there. That's an aha moment, man. All right. So your final words, your words of advice to future writers, and a word that you would like to leave with the viewers from the Young United and the United Women Book Club.
All right, so final words again. Thank you, Ravina and Young United Women's Book Club, and I guess the Women's United Book Club, which is the parent, for the invitation. I
The
really
United
appreciate it.
Women Book Club and the Young.
Okay, United Women's Book Club and the Young United Women's Book Club. Got it. I appreciate the opportunity given. I had a wonderful time in this conversation. It was really enlightening, for me, in fact, because I did not know that there was such a thing as National Authors Day. I had no idea, and I've been an author for almost 3 years, and I did not know this day existed. So I'm gonna celebrate it huge next year. It's November 1st, correct?
Awesome. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
November
Good.
1st.
All right. So I'm gonna tell
Yes, so we will
all.
also be looking forward for next year.
Right, for sure. I probably have more books out next year as well.
Good.
But I want to thank all of you for all the viewers for tuning in, the organizers of this event. I want to thank you all so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. It is an absolute honor and a privilege to have been on this our program live feed, if you want to call it that, to be able to share again, to inspire, empower, and transform young authors, existing authors, and help carry them to the next level with information that I hope could do that. So my final words to authors are this: don't stop writing. The moment you stop writing is the moment your gift begins to fade. If you're an author, if you're a writer, that is what you do. Your way of communicating to the world is through the written word. There are some people who have can communicate through the spoken word and the written word, and there are some persons who can do either or. Um, I've been fortunate and blessed enough to be able to communicate both ways, spoken and written. But in this particular instance, I want to focus on those who have the ability, the innate ability, to communicate through the written word. Your words are important, and I say that because you have a sphere, um, a, 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 a group of people that you can influence and inspire on a daily basis. And it is your responsibility as a writer to craft words that form the worlds of those people. Because if you were to be honest with yourself, your world was crafted by the words that someone either said or wrote to you, whether it was in a book or whether it was in a letter, or whether it was in a textbook in school. Something grabbed your attention, that stuck with you, and in the same way
Mhm.
that they did it for you, you now have to return the favor and pass it on and do it for them. And that is the belief that I live by. That is the conviction that I live by. That your words are meant to inspire a generation. Because at the end of the day, the next generation is what counts, and that is why I dedicated my book, Design for Purpose, to my son. That is the next generation. He's the next generation. And when I'm dead and gone, my book will outlast me. So even if I'm not here physically to guide him, the words that I put in that book, he will read it and he will hear his dad's voice over and over again, helping him and guiding him into purpose. That is the goal of writing, to outlast you.
Yes.
And you have something to say that
That's
needs
right.
to outlast you, for your children, for your generation, for whoever. All right. So writers, keep writing. Don't stop.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, Mr. Darren Wilson. Again, the author of God Fruit, Designed for Purpose, and the Kingdom Focused Church, Darren Wilson Sr. And I'm happy that you made mention that you're also not investing for yourself, but for the future of your son and your wife as well, because I'm sure that even though you're not there, she will always be there to follow up. And I hope she's writing as well. Yeah, Charmaine? Again,
Definitely.
we've come to the conclusion, Darren. You have really inspired us today, and I'm sure that writing will also be one of the processes for us as readers in months or in the near future to come. I know that words are powerful, both verbally and written words are very powerful.
Exactly.
Thank you for accepting
Correct. Correct.
our invitation for tonight, and we hope to see you soon because we have a lot of activities that are coming up, and we are going to be contacting you as well as other local authors and international authors. So this is your first time being on our page, but definitely not the last time being on our page. Thank you for joining in with us. Just to leave a few
Not a
words for
problem.
our viewers, we have we have a picture challenge that is coming up. So hashtag my family reads. The first 5 family will receive a prize. So the first 5 family to send us a picture of their family reading a book will be given a prize. That flyer will be published as soon as I get off of the live streaming. And we will start because it is also Family Literacy Month. Today starts off the Family Literacy Month as November is being celebrated as that month or is being aware as that month. So the My Family Read Challenge, as soon as you send your picture in, hashtag My Family Reads, and we automatically upload your picture to both of our Facebook pages and to all of the social media as the family will be highlighted and receive a prize. Thank you again, Darren, for joining us. Thank you
Right.
to our
Okay. Good
viewers
stuff.
for viewing and joining us tonight in this awesome interview with one of our local authors. We hope to see you very, very soon. Both viewer
My
and
pleasure.
Darren Wilson, keep doing the awesome job. Thank you,
My
Charmaine,
pleasure.
for
Thank you
letting
so
us
much.
use your husband on the live streaming. It's awesome. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you soon. Logging off
Have a good
from the Young
night.
United Women Book Club. Bye bye, everybody.
See you all. Bye bye. Good night.